Last week we learned about Hannah. Hannah was the wife of Elkanah, and Elkanah had two wives, Hannah and Peninnah. And Peninnah had a lot of children, but Hannah couldn't have any children, and it made Hannah really, really sad. But Elkanah loved Hannah. Hannah was so sad that she couldn't have any children, so she prayed and she cried out to God. She asked God to not forget about her, and she said that if God gave her a son, she would give him to the Lord and dedicate him for all the days of his life to God. She prayed, and finally Hannah had a son, and she named him Samuel, which means, I requested him from the Lord. When Samuel grew old enough, Hannah and Samuel made a trip to Shiloh to God's temple, and there Samuel stayed and he learned about God. Samuel grew up in the temple under the priest Eli, and Eli taught Samuel all about God, and Samuel grew to know God and to love God. Under Eli, Samuel learned all about God. And the Bible says in these days, the word of the Lord was rare, and there weren't many visions, meaning God didn't really talk to his people too much. The Bible says that one night when Samuel was lying in the house of the Lord where the ark of God was, the Lord called Samuel. And Samuel answered, "Here I am." And he ran to Eli and said, "Here I am, you called for me." But Eli said, "I didn't call you. Go back and lie down." So Samuel went and he fell back asleep. But again the Lord cried out, "Samuel." And Samuel got up and went to Eli. And he said, "Here I am, Eli, you've called for me." Eli said, "My son, I did not call you. Go back and lie down." Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord. The word of the Lord had not been revealed to him yet. And a third time the Lord called out, "Samuel." And Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, "Eli, here I am. You called me." Eli then realized that it was the Lord that was calling Samuel. So Eli told him, "Go and lie down. And if he calls you again, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" So Samuel went and he lied back down. The Lord again called Samuel, saying, "Samuel, Samuel." And Samuel replied, "Speak, for your servant is listening." And the Lord said to Samuel, "See, I am about to do something in Israel that will take the ears of everyone who hears about it tingle. At that time I will carry out against Eli everything I spoke against his family from beginning to end." You see, because Eli's children, his sons, were really wicked and didn't follow God. The Bible says that God continues and says, "For I told him that I would judge his family forever because of the sin he knew about. His sons blasphemed God, and he failed to restrain them. Therefore I swore to the house of Eli, the guilt of Eli's house will never be atoned for by sacrifice or offering." Samuel laid back down until morning. He was afraid to tell Eli what God had told him. But Eli went to Samuel and said, "Samuel, my son." Samuel replied, "Here I am." Eli asked Samuel, "What did God say to you? Don't hide it from me." So Samuel told Eli everything God told him. He hid nothing from him. Then Eli said, "He is the Lord. Let him do what is good in his eyes." The Bible says that the Lord was with Samuel as he grew up, and he let none of Samuel's words fall to the ground. And all of Israel recognized that Samuel was attested as a prophet of the Lord. The Lord continued to appear in Shiloh, where Samuel and Eli were. And there, God revealed himself to Samuel through his word. And Samuel grew to be such a great leader of faith for God's people, a great person that we can learn about today.